Alright, welcome back to another Art of War 3 replay. I'm your host, John Cena, and today we're going to be doing a clan 2v2 battle. I'm going to be the green Confederate player. My ally EveRommel C is going to be the blue Confederate player. Let's go and get into it. We're going to be facing off against two multi-time medalist resistance players. So we have an exciting matchup lined up here. So here we go. We can see that the resistance side is fighting very aggressively for the middle of the map for map control. We can tell that based on the speed at which they are developing, that they are definitely gold boosting. We got some early aggression here from the resistance side. EveRommel's going to flag the side of his base there, calling for some help. Looks like we got infantry coming in with coyotes. And these infantry are now exerting some early pressure onto EveRommel's base. So I'm going to go ahead and try and get some fire assaults out to deal with the infantry and some hammer tanks to deal with the coyotes. So I got a couple units out trying to deal with the coyotes that are at my end of the base. My fire assaults are meanwhile jumping into the mix there and just roasting the infantry here. Those infantry are just getting incinerated. And with a few fire assaults and hammer tanks mixed together, we are able to clean up this rush really nicely. So with that averted, we can go ahead and continue to focus on base development here and just getting some troops out for defense. We can see that there's just a couple units here that we're chasing around, trying to finish off those last units while we continue to build our bases. So looks like the resistance side is going to retreat for now. We're getting a nice scout onto the resistance side, and we can see that red is pretty fast. They're already going for HQ4 at this time. Yellow is still HQ3, but has a very neat base deployment set up. So we know that both of these resistance players are very experienced. I'm going to go ahead and tech up to HQ4 while I tell my ally EveRommel C to focus on unit production so that we have something to defend our base with. So I'm going to be trying to secure this large resource container. I've got some hammer tanks, a couple typhoons, and fire assaults. Looks like the resistance side has some porcupines mixed with infantry. And I'm going to throw on a gold attack boost here. And here we go. We got a small engagement here unfolding on the battlefield, trying to fight for these resources. I'm doing a good job cleaning up a good portion of this attack force with my troops here. Looks like some Jaguar tanks are coming in for the assist. Looks like I just barely missed capturing that resource container. I need to move back in to capture it. Looks like the resistance side is going to try and steal it. Meanwhile, another Cyclone coming in, getting a scout onto red. Red is now HQ4, going for multiple Jaguar tanks. Looks like a JCP build is in production from the red side. Yellow looks like is also HQ4 at this time. So we're seeing some aviation that are being produced, as well as some units for fighting on the ground. For both EveRommel and I, we're going for a mix of ground troops here. Looks like EveRommel is going to do a probe here and just kind of check out the defenses. So here we go. EveRommel's launching those hammer tanks into the base here, and surprisingly, both yellow and red do not have that many units to work with. Hawks are coming in now to defend the base, but here we go. I'm going to move my ground troops in as well. I've got a shield generator to support my units here and to keep units protected. So I'm going to tell EveRommel to actually commit to the attack here. I'm going to move to the side and attack from the side while EveRommel takes the center of the base. And here we go. Hammer tanks going straight to the back of the base here. Those hammer tanks are going straight for the airfield, dishing out some damage against the headquarters. Meanwhile, my units at the side here dishing out damage against the assault vehicle factories. Looks like that airfield is going to get just about cleaned up here by the hammer tanks. Once EveRommel finishes off that Avia factory, my units have chewed through the defensive line from red. Red has lost both assault vehicle factories, and it looks like that Avia factory has been cleaned up. Looks like that airfield has also been cleaned up. So this is looking like bad news for the red player. Red has also lost their headquarters. So at this point, it's really up to yellow to try and defend. Yellow desperately trying to produce units here to defend with. My hammer tanks are now dishing out damage against the level 3 special vehicle factory. Factory is going to go down. and EveRommel's tanks are continuing to just shred the inside of the base here. The yellow and red player are in huge trouble right now. They do not have a way to counter our ground units here. They're trying to produce some more infantry to cover. My shield generator is still protecting some of my units there. I'm trying to see if we can finish off this airfield before my tanks get finished off by the Dragonfly. So I'm going to get the airfield really nice. Now yellow's not going to have that hawk there. So we're just cleaning up some more buildings here. And honestly, this was a pretty successful attack here. And when I say pretty successful, I mean really successful. Like, we just decimated Red's base entirely. Red is down to just a couple supply centers. And yellow is forced to spam riflemen to defend the base. So I'm going to activate my shield generator. We're actually going to retreat now. So we've done the damage we need to. And both EveRommel and I have some pretty solid ground armies standing. So now we're going to try and transition towards just maintaining map control and also doing some contracts here. My hammers and fire assaults are just shredding the ground troops from the resistance side, no problem at all. Meanwhile, we're just capturing resources on the battlefield, just continuing to build our bank of resources. Both EveRommel and I have pretty large ground armies at our disposal here, and we're just continuing to tech up. EveRommel is going for HQ4 now. My Cyclone getting another scout onto the resistance base here. Red has built a tier 3 headquarters there, or excuse me, a tier 2 headquarters. Meanwhile, the hammer tanks and fire assaults from EveRommel and I are just making a small push here, just putting some pressure onto the yellow player. This is not a full commit at this time. We are looking to, again, keep the resistance players alive long enough so that we can do contracts. It is kind of entertaining to force the multi-time medalists here to resort to riflemen. EveRommel now doing another attack here with the hammers, just dishing out some damage against these structures here. EveRommel doing a nice job with the harassment. Yellow's desperately trying to produce units to defend with. My units are just kind of hanging out at the moment, just maintaining some map control. EveRommel is going to retreat now. There's a bunch of infantry in pursuit of the ground troops from EveRommel. So EveRommel is going to move onto the cliff here while the riflemen are in pursuit, and that is a lot of riflemen. So EveRommel doesn't really have a good counter for these riflemen. There's a couple grenadiers in the mix as well, it looks like. But for the most part, it is just those riflemen. Looks like there's a porcupine as well. EveRommel is going to flag the area. He is going to request a little bit of help there just to deal with the infantry. So I'm going to let EveRommel know that I'm going to send help. Here comes a Seraphim from my end, just dishing out damage against the sniper tower, and those punishment warheads are going to clean up another sniper tower. Infantry and that porcupine are closing in on EveRommel. Here comes some fire assaults from my end, though. Some of them are getting cleaned up by the bullets from the riflemen, but the fire assaults that get within range are dishing out some nice damage. Hammer tanks are now moving into the center of the entrance there. My Seraphim has been shot down by the infantry from the resistance side. I'm just going to throw on a gold common attack boost as a caution, just to make sure that we don't throw the game. And looks like the hammer tanks are going to retreat. Again, we were just kind of probing the defenses from the resistance side. We're not looking to finish them off yet. We're still doing some contracts. Hammer tanks now moving back in now, and we're going to go ahead and just clean up the barracks there. Meanwhile, EveRommel is going to maneuver onto the side of the base there, and we are just continuing to harass the resistance side, just absolutely bullying them and having fun with it. We can see that there's multiple gun towers from the yellow player. Yellow is heavily entrenched with triple gun towers on the top side, but they don't have any gun towers here on the bottom side. We can see that there's a special prototype factory there. Potentially some heroes on the battlefield if yellow gets a chance to make them, but I don't think EveRommel is going to give them the chance to do it. EveRommel is going straight for that prototype factory, and the factory is going to get cleaned up. And we can see now EveRommel is now in the back of the resistance base and just carving the inside of the base and working his way out of the base. So the hammer tank's doing a nice job just dishing damage out. EveRommel's doing a good job just keeping those hammer tanks moving so they don't sustain too much damage from the riflemen. Riflemen are just starting to pile on significantly. So EveRommel's going to have to retreat here pretty soon. Gun tower gets finished by the yellow player, and EveRommel's now only down to a couple tanks here. So EveRommel is going to have to replenish his army. So a few ground troops there across the map for both EveRommel and I, just maintaining ground control. Seraphim coming back in now, using the overdrive to put damage on the barracks. Punishment warheads get fired, and we're going to finish off a barracks here. So just about done with the contract, I believe, at this point in the battle for destroying buildings. Fire assaults coming in out, and they're just going to roast these infantry. And the infantry trying to collect resources. My fire assaults now trying to just roast the riflemen here. They're in pursuit, but again, not trying to finish off the resistance side quite yet, though. It is kind of entertaining to watch them continue to flail with the infantry. And the infantry are going to jump back into the mix here. And we're doing a little bit of cat and mouse here, just to kind of bully the resistance side. Always fun to bully multi-time resistance medalists. Gonna move a few more units in. Seraphim's also dishing out damage as I try to rack up those hero kills for the contract. And my units are gonna go ahead and retreat. So at this point, I'm pretty much full of command points. I'm gonna go ahead and move a Solaris tank into position. Seraphim's still putting down some fire. There goes the chain lightning, and here comes the active ability, and that Seraphim goes down. The Solaris tank finishes off a bunch of infantry. It's going to finish off the contract for me. And here comes a huge, massive fire assaults, and the fire assaults just start roasting the riflemen. I let EveRommel know at this point I'm pretty much done with contracts, and I have full command points. So I just check in with EveRommel, make sure that he doesn't have any contracts, and now we're going to go ahead and finish off the resistance players. So now we are both moving in very large ground armies onto the base here, and we can see that Red's developed some pretty decent infrastructure considering the amount of infrastructure we leveled. But we can see that both the red and yellow player, despite the amount of effort that they're putting in, they are not able to fight back successfully. We can see Yellow's last-ditch attempt is a few Avia factories in the back of the base, attempting to go for that Dragonfly spam, which would have been a smart move, but we are not going to give the resistance side an opportunity to amass Dragonflies. Alright, the rest of this game is really just the two of us cleaning up the bases here. Hopefully you all enjoyed this battle. We will see you in the next battle. Good luck with your fights until then.